What's happening, everybody? It's Friday. We had the weigh-ins already. Of course, we had the Pete Rodriguez versus Natan Levy fight scrapped. Not for the first time, folks. For the second time, due to weight-cutting issues on the side of Pete Rodriguez. So we are down to 11 fights for UFC Charlotte, and we need 4 legs to put together a Greasy 4-leg parlay, which means we need 4 different fights to target for this week's Greasy 4-legger. So I have got them ready for you guys. Hello to everybody watching live. Hello to everybody watching on the replay. Let's just get right into this here. We're going to start with leg number 1. I've got my screen shared with you. Leg number 1 is going to be Gian Kim to win by decision at minus 125. If we look at the prop template here, we can see that this fight is minus 300 to go to decision right now. So they're saying about a 75% of the time, this fight's going to go to decision. And we're looking at Gian Kim at about a minus 220, minus 230 favorite here. I think maybe she could be even more of a favorite than that. She's very long for the division. She uses her length well. I think if Mandy Bohm's able to get the wrestling going, there might be a chance that she can win some minutes here and make this a little bit closer. But I think Gian Kim's the much better striker. He's got a lot more power. I do honestly think that there is a chance Gian Kim could get a knockout here. So I'm a little bit worried. But, it's a Greasy 4-legger, so we got to get Greasy here. I might even take a small quarter unit play on Gian Kim to win by knockout at around plus 650 on FanDuel Sportsbook, because she does have some power. But Mandy Bohm's very durable. She's tough. So I don't think she's going to quit out here on this one. Plus, I think it's the last fight on her deal. She definitely needs a win here. So I think that Gian Kim is going to win this one, win it fairly easily. I think she's the much better striker, definitely the much busier striker. If we look here at the advanced stats for this fight, here we go. Or actually, let's go to the matchups. We see that Gian Kim throws 18.54 distance strike attempts per minute spent at distance, while for Mandy Bohm, it's 10.31. So, Mandy's a little bit better defensively, but, she's absorbing a lot more strikes than she lands, while Gian Kim lands a little bit more than she absorbs, but just throws a lot more volume, will be a lot busier, and she's the more powerful striker too. So looking for Gian Kim to win this one by decision. That'll be the first leg of this parlay. So if we go to DraftKings Sportsbook here, and I want to keep in mind here, Gian Kim by decision on FanDuel is minus 110. So it's a much better price than what they're hanging on DraftKings right now. It was minus 105 when I started putting this one together, and then I saw it shifted. So I'm bummed about that. But if we go to winning method and we scroll down here to Gian Kim, we're going to pick Gian Kim to win by decision at minus 125. Leg number 2 is going to be the Carl Williams Chase Sherman over 1.5 rounds at minus 170. So if we go to the prop template here, let's take a look at some data. For the over 1.5 rounds here, we're going to see that 10 of 14 fights of Chase Sherman have went over 1.5 rounds. And Carl Williams' only UFC fight has went over 1.5 rounds. And in addition to that, Carl Williams, even on the regional scene, fighting lower level competition, only had 3 fights finish under 1.5 rounds. And one of them was him getting submitted via triangle choke by Jason Butcher. So this is not a situation where we've got to worry about either one of these guys having a ton of early finishing equity. Obviously, I could see Williams getting a takedown, getting to a dominant position, and finishing this fight early. Obviously, it could happen. Chase Sherman's ground game is bad, and that's why Williams is like a minus 400 favorite here. But I really do believe that he is going to wrestle here, and that he should be able to grind this out for more than 7.5 minutes. I think if this thing gets into round 2, it'll easily go over 2.5 minutes, because it's going to take time for Williams to get takedowns, to work to dominant positions, and then try to finish from there. But Chase Sherman hopefully will be able to hold on for 7.5 minutes, and then we can cash leg number 2 of this parlay at minus 170. We're even getting a little bit better price than what it was earlier today. So you can see here that 73.33% of their 15 combined UFC fights have went over 1.5 rounds. and we're only paying 63% on the line, and we're only overpaying by about 6.3% compared to the benchmark. So I think that it's a well-priced line. It's cheap. It's likely to happen. The stylistic read is kind of there, but the only thing I'm really worried about here, because Chase Sherman doesn't really have one punch power, is that Williams gets a late first round finish here when he gets to a dominant position on top. But we'll see how it all goes. It's going to be over 1.5 rounds. So we're going to go to fight lines here. We're going to go to alternative total rounds. And we're going to scroll down here to Carl Williams over 1.5 rounds against Chase Sherman. That's minus 170. That brings this two-leg parlay up to plus 185 here. And then leg number 3 is going to be the Alex Morono Tim Means fight doesn't go to decision at minus 105. Saw this on Twitter earlier, and this is Morono at weigh-ins. If you can see this on the screen here, he looks like absolute death warmed over. Look at those eyes. They look sunken. They look dark. His mouth is wide open. He's got a vacant stare. He really looks like he had a rough weight cut. In addition to that, his last fight that he took on short notice, he got knocked out against Santiago Ponzinibbio. That was a catch weight of 180 pounds. So he didn't even have to, cut a ton of weight the last time out. He looks good. His body looks good, but I mean, he definitely looks sucked out in the face. He looks like it was a really rough weight cut. If he has a rough time, rehydrating, I think that there's a much higher possibility than what the data's been telling us that this fight will finish inside the distance. Because even though 7 of their last 10 fights have went to decision between Means and Morono, I really do believe that this weight cut and the fact that, both of these guys do swing for the fences, both of them do have some power, and both of them push a pace. I could see that this one, potentially does finish inside the distance, especially due to the fact that Morono has had this tough weight cut. If we look at the details here, fight doesn't go to decision, priced at 51%. It's a 49.7% benchmark, so we're overpaying just a little bit there. Half of Means' fights since 2013 have finished inside the distance, and for Morono, it's 6 of 17. But the way that he looked, I think that there's going to be a much higher possibility that this fight does finish inside the distance. So 43.9% of their 41 fights have finished inside the distance. We are paying 51% here, but I think that the weight cut, it makes a big difference here. And if we don't see a fully charged up Alex Morono, I think there's a good possibility that this fight finishes early, especially if Morono can't push a pace for the full 3 rounds. So that is leg number 3. And we're going to go up here to fight props. And we're going to go to fight doesn't go the distance, or fight to go the distance. No, Tim Means versus Alex Morono, minus 105. That's bringing our 3-pick parlay up to plus 458. And as you guys know, I always like to finish with one that we can hedge out if these first 3 legs do hit. So I'm going to give you the fight doesn't start round 3 for the main event. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Jailton Almeida. Minus 360 here on DraftKings Sportsbook. That brings the parlay up to plus 613. Obviously, if we look here on the prop template, we're going to see in the 3 rounds that, fights don't start round 3 10 of 11 times between Almeida's 3-round fights, 4 of 4 times, and Rozenstruik's 3-round fights, 6 of 7. So 91%. It's a big amount. It's not, when we're only paying 78%, it's 360. 78.26% here. We're getting a 12% break here with these guys. Go under round 3, 36.8% bigger than what the division does as a whole. They're violent guys. Wherever this fight goes, one of these 2 guys is going to be dangerous. If it's on the feet, Rozenstruik's got the death touch. If it's on the ground, Almeida's got the possibility to get a ground and pound or a submission finish. I think that Giles and Almeida by first round submission is the most likely path here, the most likely way that this finishes. But I've got a small bet on Rosenstruik by first round knockout at plus 1,200. But I think this fight finishes early. So if we cash these first three legs, we'll be able to get out at like plus 300 for the fight doesn't start round, or for the fight does start round 3. And you can put 1 unit down on that if the first three legs hit. And then that way, if you have like, let's say a half unit on the parlay, you would win a little over 3 units on that. Now you could take 1 unit off of that, bring that down to 2 units that you would win. But if it did go tits up and the fight did start round 3, you would cash 3 units on your hedge bet. So you would definitely win a lot of units either way. But that's the one that we're going to finish up on here. Plus 613 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's cash this one, you guys. We're definitely due. We got Adam Rush in here saying, "Oh, yes, let's get greasy." We got White House Troll saying, "Oh." We got Jester saying, "Let's get it, Weezy. Let's go, Jester." J Bone saying, "Boom equals bum." And I couldn't agree more. We've got T saying, "I got Ulberg at minus 190. Max bet him." That is a fantastic line, T. I wish I got him at minus 190. I would have definitely max bet him at that price for sure. My guy Rob Pagorni, one of my fraternity brothers from the Sigma Chi days back at the Harvard of the Midwest, Northern Illinois University, telling me he's optimistic about this one. Let's go. Let's get it, Rob. Let's cash this one, man. I owe you because we haven't had one here for a couple of months. So I'm getting this one, man. I like all these reads. The data seems to line up. So let's cash this one. We got DFS by the numbers saying, "Let's get greasy." What's up, Brady? Good to see you in here, man. My man Brady is going to be waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, him and his wife, to go drive down to see, or no, he already did. Or no, I'm sorry. That's Friday. It's Friday. So he's going to wake up tomorrow, 3 a.m., drive down to North Carolina to watch the fights, and then go to South Carolina to celebrate his 1-year anniversary. Happy anniversary, Brady. Hope you and your wife have a fantastic weekend this weekend. We got Brandon Ortega saying, "What's the deal with Silva Stamen fight being at catchweight? They both seem funny on the scale to me." Dude, like, I don't know how Douglas Silva de Andrade makes 135. I don't know how Cody Stamen makes 135. Both those dudes are so bricked up with muscle that it doesn't surprise me when like both of these guys will be like, "Yeah, you want to just make it 140," I didn't know that was going to happen, though. I wasn't aware that this was going to be a catch weight. It was something that slipped past me. So I don't know. I don't have any action on that fight. I kind of like Douglas Silva de Andrade by decision and a fat number. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think if Cody can really get the wrestling going, I think he'll make it look easy and get a decision win. But if he can't, I think it's going to be very, very close. And I think Douglas Silva de Andrade, always swinging bombs and landing big shots, could possibly win a decision by just landing the bigger shots here. And does the Rodriguez miss make you lean more his way, or will it make him slower? Are you talking about Pete Rodriguez? I thought that fight was off. Or did Daniel Rodriguez, did D-Rod not make weight? I missed it if D-Rod didn't make weight. Let's have a look-see. My God. We've got the internet people actually coming over to my place today to fix it. So let's see here. Frank Camacho. What the fuck? You got to be kidding me. Weigh-in results. Here's Rosenstruik versus Almeida. No, Daniel Rodriguez made weight. He made 170. It was Pete Rodriguez who fucking blew it. Couldn't even make 162, and had to pull out of the fight. So yeah, and yeah, Cody Stamann, Douglas Silva de Andrade, 140 pound catch weight. Brian Battle missed weight. Pete Rodriguez had his fight scrapped, and everybody else made weight. Jailton Almeida only 231 pounds. So yeah. Oh, okay. He made weight on a second attempt. My bad. I didn't know that he. I just saw that he made weight, so I completely missed it. Okay. Got it. All right. Yeah, Battle did look bad. Battle, dude. I think he should maybe move back up to 185. He looks like he's cutting too much to make it down to 170, and he always looks drained and just empty at these weigh-ins. So, all right, you guys, that's where we're at. We've got plus 630 or plus 613 this week. Some good data spots here. I might hedge out a little bit and take a Gian Kim, a small position on Gian Kim to win by knockout at better than plus 600. But all these other spots I think are solid spots. Let's hope that we hit this one. Stack cash tickets like flapjacks. Happy anniversary to my guy DFS by the numbers. We're going to be coming to you late this week with Stat Diggers. We're going to be doing it not on Sunday night like we normally do, and not on Monday night when Clint does the Die Hard MMA podcast. What we're going to do is do a special Tuesday night edition of Stat Diggers for next week's dumpster fire of a card. I will not be doing just the tip next weekend. I am going to take the weekend off, or take the week off of doing YouTube content, so that I can completely rehaul my Patreon, make it better. I need more people on my Patreon. Anybody that signs up, I truly appreciate you. Check me out at patreon.com/UncleWeezy. That's how you support the work. That's how you make sure I keep showing up here for free on YouTube, because YouTube is now taking 55% of our donations. So when you're donating to me, you're actually giving just a bunch of money to Google Corporation that actually has enough money already. And they're taking 70 to 75% of any channel memberships that people are selling. So I'm not even going to bother selling those, because you would just be giving money to Google. So my plan is to start doing less work on YouTube, because any kind of support you give to me on YouTube really just makes money for Google Corporation. And I want to do more content on the Patreon and build up that Patreon so that I can actually have enough money coming in monthly to be able to continue doing this full time. So that's the plan going forward. Please consider supporting me on the Patreon. And yeah, I give out template. I do give out the templates on Patreon. Dick's Insider in the room. See you Tuesday, says my guy DFS by the numbers. Stat Diggers this Tuesday, everybody. Tuesday on Pub Sports Radio. We got ready for this card. I am definitely ready this card. Yes. Yeah, the templates, like the prop template that you see here, that goes out on Patreon usually 1 week before the fights, where we start to build the lines in there as they come out and come more available. And you get all the divisional benchmarks. You can see the analytics here for how many fights there were in women's strawweight, how many didn't go to decision, how many went under 2.5. You got those by percentages as well. We got it for 5-round fights as well, so that you know the differences, between, what the finish rates are for 5-round fights and 3-round fights. And then also, I'm going to be rehauling this template here, which is the basic template, because now I have also, let me see if I can show this to you guys. This is actually really cool. This is something that I'm going to be doing going forward. And so let me see. Yes, this is fixed. Okay, so this is a Prize Picks analytics template. And what we're doing here is I'm doing benchmarks for each division, so that we can determine when we see, like, for instance, this is women's 115 pounds. So do we have a women's strawweight fight on this card? I don't think so, right? We've got a women's flyweight fight with Bohm and Kim. We've got a flyweight fight, right? So if I go to flyweight here, we can see that the average flyweight in the UFC lands 5.67 distance strikes per minute spent at distance and has 14.49 distance strikes attempted per minute spent at distance and is 39% accurate. And then you can kind of do that against these and see that both of these ladies are less accurate than the average fighter. Mandy Bohm throws about 4 less significant strike attempts than the average flyweight fighter. But Gian Kim throws about 3.5 more, or 4 more, actually. So I'm going to start color coding these things to determine whether somebody is higher volume or lower volume. And then we can find that out with takedowns per 15 minutes because we have those stats. We can do that for just regular significant strikes attempted and landed per minute. You know, are these fighters busier than the average fighter in their weight class? Less busy. And what I want to do is I want to upgrade all these analytics for you guys so that more people come on the Patreon and are willing to support the work. So appreciate you guys supporting me. Appreciate you guys just tuning into all the content that I do here. And like I say, I'm trying to spend this next week with this dumpster fire card instead of spending the time breaking down 13 trash fights and spending 5 days doing that. I want to spend that time overhauling the Patreon, making the product better. And that way, when we come back for UFC Vegas, which is 74. And by the way, if you're on the Patreon, you've already got those stats. We've got Kai Kara France versus Amir Albazi. We've got Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. I'm 3 weeks ahead. So please consider, please consider joining the Patreon. I'm already losing you guys now because I'm just pushing the Patreon. But let's cash this parlay. Plus 613 here. Gian Kim to win by decision. Over 1.5 rounds in the Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman fight. The Tim Means Alex Morono fight to finish inside the distance. And the fight not to start round 3 for Rosenstruik versus Almeida comes out to plus 613. Throw a quarter unit on it, throw a half unit on it, and let's have some fun, you guys. Have a great time watching the fights. We got to get up early to do it tomorrow. And I will see you next week on Tuesday on Pub Sports Radio for Stat Diggers and my man DFS by the numbers. And then we'll be taking that week off. And everybody that's already on the Patreon, I will be reaching out to you guys this week, looking for suggestions on how to improve it and trying to just get any feedback from you guys about what you think can make this better. So appreciate all you guys watching. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, consider joining the Patreon, and let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Charlotte. Have a good one, everyone. Oh, and we got Brandon Ortega saying trying to get more stat-oriented. Matt Rush saying always killing it, Weezy. Brandon saying you have me support, Unc. I appreciate you, man. Brandon, that's awesome. Dixon Sider with the thumbs up. Let's go, you guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the fights. See you next week.